What's up, guys? I'm Scotty with American Dream Machine, and you're watching Brutally Delicious.
Brutally Delicious!
Alright, guys. So, for these sliders, we've got everything that we need right here. Started chopping some onion up. We've got our bowls all set for our seasonings. We got our meat. We got our rolls. We're going to dive into it. So, a lot of people don't know is that I really love to cook. I mean, like, I love to cook. Outside of music, it is probably my single biggest passion. And there's a lot of people that can attest to that. This particular recipe took me quite some time to come up with, actually. It took the better part of like 6 months to actually get it dialed into where we wanted it. It was me and my buddy Pat up at the infamous Camp Webb, just kind of making these things and figuring out what tastes good and what doesn't, and eventually we locked it down, and that's what I'm showing you guys today. And it was cool because being this much of a passion, I actually did go to culinary school when I was younger. It was a trade school thing, so like high school, you'd go to regular classes for the first part of the day, and then you get to do your trade afterwards, and I learned how to cook. So what we're gonna need for this, we're gonna start by separating a few things. The sesame seeds you're not gonna need till the end, so we're gonna tuck those in the back with the cheese. So what we're gonna do here, go with, all right, guys, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna get our spices blended together for this. Now, you can use level spoons if you want. I tend to go heaping just because it gets a little bit extra in there. So, up to you. But I do, for these, you're gonna need a teaspoon and a half of black pepper. Again, heaping. Half teaspoon of chili powder. That one you might want to level off. 2 teaspoons of onion powder. 1 teaspoon of garlic. 1/4 teaspoon of garlic salt, followed by 1/8 of a teaspoon of regular salt. And there is your spice blend. So we'll sift that around, get it all mixed together real nice. And now for the fun part. Now we take this, we're gonna throw this meat in a bowl, and we're gonna squeeze it. It's a hell of a way to spend an afternoon. What did you do yesterday? I squeezed some meat, and you know what, you had to be there.
And I'm rolling.
All right. All right, so we broke some meat out into a bowl here. We're gonna get our seasoning in, and essentially what we're gonna do is we're gonna stagger this going in. You're gonna wanna shake about half of it in. Throw in a little pinch of this red onion. And now the fun part. Now we're gonna dig our fingers in there and really work that seasoning in. The idea here is you wanna spread the seasoning nice and even through all this meat, because that's what's gonna give it its flavor, obviously. There's something oddly satisfying about doing this too. Like, it's almost like working with Play-Doh. Like, you kind of get to dig your hands in and really press that around. You can smell it start to come together when those spices start to blend. Really, really, really nothing quite like it. One of the reasons I love cooking so much. All right, and now let's get our other half of the seasoning in here. Notice how it like basically coats the top of everything in here. That's kind of ideal for what you want. You should have enough seasoning going on in this to just kind of coat right over the top of everything. And again, then we're gonna dig in and really mix it in there. Don't be afraid to really, really, really get aggressive with it. The more you squeeze it and the more you work it together, the more evenly the flavor is gonna be distributed through it, the better your sliders are going to taste. All right, so we've got our meat all seasoned and mixed. Now this is where we start to turn it into sliders. Number one, if you want to just kind of hold this and roll it around and play with a little more power to you. But this is where we're going to take our pan, and this is what's going to form up the sliders really nicely. Now you're going to notice that these packages of dinner rolls, they fit perfectly in there. And the idea here is you want your sliders to be kind of no mess. So what we're going to do is we're going to press this down into this pan to basically make one giant patty. Now always remember, it's important to remember, when you are, I'm going to move this somewhere a little quieter. So it's important to remember when you're working with hamburger, you ever get one of those burgers at a restaurant, or you try to cook a burger at home or something, you think you made a patty, and the whole center of it beefs all up on you and everything just kind of salutes and falls out the back of it when you go to take a bite? We don't want that to happen with our sliders. We want these to be nice and even as we're going. So as we press this in, what we're going to do is we're going to beef the sides up a little bit more, and we're going to leave the center kind of depressed a little bit, just like the rest of us during quarantine. Ah-ha-ha, ah-ha.
Oh,
yeah, that was good.
I'm not cutting.
I wouldn't either. All right, so we'll depress the center a little bit. We got our edges nice and raised, and that ensures that when this cooks, those juices are going to plump that center up. Those sides are going to come down. It's going to make one nice, even, big patty. So I've already preheated the oven to 350. It is in there raging. And now I'm going to send this meat in to join it. And if and when you've done everything right, not that it's very hard, that's what you should be looking at. So, in we go. Now, we've got a little more prep to do to get our buns and everything ready, but first, and most importantly, wash your hands. Shorthand. And then some hand sanitizer just for good measure. Hygiene is one of the most important things in the kitchen. Don't let anyone tell you differently. All right, hands are washed, meat's in the oven. We're gonna let that rock for about 20 minutes, give or take. Now we're on to making these rolls all fancy and special. So this is one of the coolest things I like about doing this dish is there's no need to individually just kind of do each of them. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take this rack of dinner rolls right here. We're gonna take our bread knife and we're gonna split it nice and even right down the middle of it. And it's important you just kind of be gentle when you're doing it. You wanna let the knife do the work because these rolls are very, very soft. It's artisan bread. I'm a sucker for all things artisan. I love when bread is soft baked and has just that wonderful flavor to it. You could tell it was put together just right, kneaded just right, let rise just the right amount of time. I'm a sucker for a good bread. So again, this might take a second, but let the knife do the work. You're gonna be much happier in the end. This is also a great way to take out very gentle frustrations. If you're just mildly annoyed, you just take a rack of bread and just kind of saw it in half. Then you look at it afterwards and go, yeah! It is a delicate process, but we're almost there. Boom. Now what we'll do is we're going to take these and pop this in here right there. And this is when it gets cool. You're going to take a little bit of butter, throw this in the microwave and melt it down. Clear some of my clutter. And this is where our sesame seeds are going to come in. All right, so our butter's melted. We've got our handy pastry brush. What we're going to do is just very gently go over the top of each of these. I'm just going to apply butter. I'm no Monet, but these look good. Oh, I hear my assistant. I hear him. Oh, there we go. Hey, bud. What are you doing? Are you here for sliders? You are, huh? This is Bandit. This is our little buddy helping out in the kitchen. Yes. Sesame seeds. Very gently. You're just going to put a nice layer of those right on top of these buns in there. Don't those look amazing?
Okay.
Let's check these things out. Ooh. It's coming along real nice. So, these guys have been baking about 20 minutes. Oh, yes. That looks lovely. Greasy, by definition, but damn does that look good. That is exactly what we were looking for. That nice square patty, you can see the onions caramelized nicely in there. Beautiful. So our next step here is we're going to dry this out some. So we've got our pre-prepared dinner rolls that we've got here. We're going to take the top layer off of these and we're just going to kind of set it aside for a second. It doesn't really matter where.
All right, filming.
All right. So we drain that off. Now we're going to get these bad boys over. Onto our sliders. You see the way that lines up? That is perfect.
Go.
All right, most important part of cheeseburger sliders, the cheese. I use about 9 pieces when I do this. Pretty much make sure that anybody who likes a little bit of cheese can take one from the side and you've only got that 1 piece. Anybody who likes a lot of cheese, you get a center cut one. There's a little bit more cheese flavor on that. You just kind of want to spread it nice and evenly so that you get a good melt on your sliders. And look at that, there we go. The next step moving in, I'm going to take some onions. Get some red onion on there. Now, not too much. You want to just kind of add a little extra flavor because we've got a lot of onion that's actually already in the meat. We've got a couple teaspoons of onion powder. We've got red onion that's actually in the mix. So you don't want to over onion anybody because then you get people walking up to you going, oh man, that was great. And you kind of fall down afterwards. So none of that. We're going to top our sliders back off with our pre-severed buns. And now this is going to go right back in the oven for, we'll say, 10 minutes. What you want to do is you just want to crisp your dinner rolls up nicely. You want to melt that cheese. You want to crisp up that onion, give it that nice little snap where it's kind of cooked, but it's not really cooked, but it's kind of cooked, but not really cooked. That's going to be tasty. We're going to let that sit. We'll see when it comes out. All right, so these bad boys are done. Let's get them out of here. Let's see what we did. Yes. 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 Yep. All right, boom. cheeseburger sliders. What's really cool about these guys is they're 12 sliders, all made as one. Then you just kind of break and enjoy. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.